A survivor is a term often given to a model car in original condition that has somehow stood the test of time. We all know that model cars are fragile, and for one to survive and look good 30 years later proves it was well built and well taken care of. But when a model was built more than 50 years ago and is still display worthy, that's even better. When you know the story behind a 50-year-old model and you've been the caretaker of it for most of its life, that's a real special one. Here is the story behind this orange AMT 1968 Chevelle. In my intro video, I mentioned I'm a third-generation model builder. My grandfather built RC airplanes, and my father is a model train enthusiast, but he did build several model cars in the late 60s. I remember as a child going to his office where he had them on a shelf behind his desk. I begged him to let me play with them, but he knew I'd just tear them up. A bit later, those models did come home, and he put them in my room, on top of my dresser, although he put a 10-gallon aquarium to cover them and keep my hands off of them. As I got older, they did get out of the aquarium and onto some shelves in my room. They even got posed for dioramas, complete with the General Lee ready to jump them, with the Goodyear blimp looking on. It's hard to believe this one has stayed as nice as it is. The fact the wheels don't roll, and when I was a child I thought it had curious flat tires, probably had something to do with that. Another curious feature was the textured hood. My dad said he painted it black and sprinkled coarse salt on it when the paint was wet. He then sealed it with another coat of paint. Yep, I've licked it, but it doesn't taste like salt. In my teens, it did get torn apart, and I put that body on a Pro Street chassis. I trimmed the corners by the windshield so it would fit right. Decades later, I wish I hadn't done that. The engine is pretty basic, but it has a blower, and now I think all model cars should have a blower. It used to have a radiator support, but that piece has been lost to time. My favorite detail under the hood is this genuine Chevrolet parts decal on the wheel well. It's the only one on the car, and just looks cool. Underneath, it's pretty basic. The chip paint in the back is from where it once had wheelie bars. A 5-year-old Tim ripped those off a long time ago. I remember Dad saying the headers were just some leftover sprue he epoxied in place. I took this one apart recently to clean it up since the interior had gotten pretty dusty. I always thought the two-tone blue looked neat with the orange. Another curious feature is inside the body. My father wrote "Hoon" inside of it. I asked him why. He can't remember. Could have something to do with where he built it. He was attending the University of Hawaii at the time. He wrote Honolulu on the other side. While this model doesn't have a famous pedigree of winning contests or being featured in publications, it still is significant for simply surviving, as it has, and still looks cool all these years later. I'm fortunate to have a few more of my dad's builds that have survived in various conditions. If you'd like to hear those stories, or have some of your own, let me know down in the comments. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed, please do, because I have all kinds of model car stories to tell. Thanks for watching.